Okay, y'all, listen. So we can't do it live, but we can make a video. So I'm going to video it, and then I will upload it. And I'm sorry that I can't talk to y'all, but something must be up with Facebook today. So I've got my floral foam in my little enameled pot. You saw me do that on my live a few minutes ago. And 2 of the Dollar Tree Christmas trees, just the regular ones from the Dollar Tree. I took 2 of those, and I put them together. And then I used some of these little green, they're almost like pipe cleaners from Hobby Lobby. They look like Christmas greenery, and I twined those together. So I'm going to press this down into my floral foam, and then I'm going to pull it back up. I want to make those holes good, and then I'm going to stick some hot glue down inside there, possibly. Looks like my hot glue's about out. Let me see my battery. Hang on, hold please. I'm just gonna swap this battery out. I thought really quickly. We can get one that's charged on here. Okay. So I'm just going to put some hot glue in these holes just so that my tree doesn't move around as it sits there. So we'll go back down inside those same holes, and I'm pushing it all the way down in there. Okay, and so now that that's set up, I've got some burlap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these sheets of burlap, and I'm just going to tuck it around inside of here underneath my tree and make kind of like a tree skirt, but it's also going to act to help hold that in there a little bit tighter. I'm just opening it up, and I'm just pressing it around this floral foam on the sides, and that's going to keep it snug in there, just like so. I'm just making sure that my floral foam is covered up well. And put a little bit more around this side. Pull off any of those little strings. Now this could be any fabric or anything that you wanted to put around there. And you also could, you could use a little bit of Excelsior or moss or whatever you wanted to cover that up as well. But this just seems to work just fine, and it looks like a little tree skirt inside of there. So we've got our burlap in there wrapped around the tree. We've got the tree here. Now what I did was I got a box. It's just a box that I got some stuff from Amazon in. And I'm just going to set this down inside of the box because that's going to help me to hold it steady. And I'm going to take a spray bottle, and I'm just going to mist it with some water. And I wanted it to be as natural as possible. And this flocking is activated with water. So that makes it super simple. Now I've just got a scoop, and I'm just going to scoop up some of this flocking, just like so. And I'm just going to start to sprinkle it around on the tree. And I found with the last one, if I sprinkled it from up above, it just falls on those branches and hits them just like the snow would. So it gets a little bit lighter as it goes down. Okay, just like that. You can get into some of these bottom branches a little bit more if you want to. I'm just going to kind of turn it and get underneath there on some of those where it didn't stick very well. And then you're going to want to take your spray bottle of water again and mist it again. And that water is going to activate that flocking snow. So I just sprayed it really well, and I'm doing the back side. I know it's hard for y'all to see. Just spraying it well. That activates it. And I know that y'all can only see that one side. And then I'm going to go over the top of that again with a little bit more snow. The flocking. Hit some of those areas that I didn't get. Now I'm going to tell you that this could tend to get a little bit heavy. So, you know, be careful. Some of the branches may kind of stick together a little bit. This is just the way that I did it with the other one, and it just worked out really, really well, and I was happy with it. So once you do that, like I just continued spraying my water, and you can see that this is why I put it in a box. So once you spray that with water, that water just activates whatever it is in the snow that makes it stick. So I'll turn that side around to y'all, and then I can work on this back side. So I'm just misting. I'll try to do this quickly because I don't know how long of a video I'll be able to upload. So I'm just sprinkling it on these branches, on the back, just like I did on that front side, and kind of tossing it into some of the ones where it didn't get in there very good. A little bit more in some areas. I think it just looks very natural, and I think it kind of gives a little bit more of a high-end look to these little dollar store trees. You can kind of get in there and wiggle some of those branches around. Then, like we did on the other one, I'm going to give it a good another spritz, and it's going to absorb that water, and you are going to have to let it sit for a little bit. I'm also letting it fall on the handle of that little pot that I'm using. So that little handle of that pot is going to look like it's got snow that's fallen on it as well. It gets a little bit clear kind of looking when you spray it with water. That's kind of why I reactivated it and then sprinkled on a little bit more so that that snow on top kind of looks fresh. And you can just continue to layer it just like that. Everywhere that's wet is going to stick. I just think it's so pretty. And I'm not using very much of this snow. You can see that I'm only using little tiny bits at the time, not big bits. Some of the branches get weighed down a little bit heavier, but that box, everything that falls into the bottom of this little box is going to stick together also. And then I'm just going to hold it up kind of high and mist it one more time. Now, what I will do is I'm going to finish this tree, and then I will take it outside after it gets good and dry, and I'll just kind of shake it off to make sure that there's nothing loose on here. The other day I sat it outside, the wind was kind of blowing, and I just let the wind kind of naturally knock some of that off. And that's it, y'all. That's it. That's how you do it. I just want to make sure that I get enough water down here in that bottom. I don't want all the snow to fall off of it. That's exactly how I did it the other day. I just kept getting little tiny bits of it each time and going back over and layering it. And like I said, you could do as much or as little as you wanted to flock these trees with. I like it kind of heavy. I feel like when it's a little bit heavier, it looks a little bit more expensive. Now, this flocking stuff is a little tiny bit pricey, it seems like it was $50 or $25 for the smaller bag. There was a larger bag as well. I did buy the smaller one, but I'm not using very much of it. So, I mean, I feel like you get a lot of use out of it. So we're done with that. It absorbs some of the water, and that will carry through the rest of the branches. So we're going to move that over to the side for just a minute, and let me show y'all how I made my bow. So I started with my Bow-Dabra, just like this, and then I got some different kinds of fabric, and I am cutting strips between 1/4 and 1/2 inch. I'm going to do them a little bit differently on this one and add in this beige and tan ticking so that it'll be a little bit different than the last one, but not too different. So I've got some strips of that, and then I'm going to add in this red plaid homespun. I think that it's very fun, and I'm going to cut about the same sized strips of it so that these colors will match the one that I did the other day, but it won't be exactly the same. And I thought that that would be fun. And then since the snow is white and my enameled pot has that white on it, I've got some white fabric. It's just a fat quarter, and I got it from Walmart, and it was just in one of those little white bundles. And so I thought that that would add enough white in there. So we're going to use some of it. This one's just got little polka dots. It's just a little tone-on-tone fabric with little polka dots. This is just going to add back some white. And I'm going to use one of these for a little tie. But it's just going to make that white tie in with that tan and add some white to match our enameled pot. So let me get that ripped. Now I'm going to use one of these white ones in my Bow-Dabra. So I'm going to place it in here just like so. Then I'm just going to layer the other ones over it. I'll just start with this one. I like the strings. I'm leaving them on there. So we're going to go in the Bow-Dabra, and I'm just going to loop this. I'm not making sure that I have the right side or anything like that. I'm just looping it. Until I get to the end, just like so. And then we'll do the same thing with this one, kind of angling them at different angles, but I'm not worrying about right side or wrong side of the fabric. I didn't feel like it mattered on mine. And just gonna keep layering it like that. I'll put the white in, and I'm just gonna keep going back and forth with the white, with the red, and with the ticking. And I'm gonna kind of angle them in different directions each time. Now the Bow-Dabra is just gonna hold it while I work with these loops. You see that I'm doing this very, very casually. Like, I'm not worrying about anything being perfect. Just going in there, I'm laying it, I'm looping it over. Some of those longer strings I'm kind of pulling off. I'm not worrying about tying off the ends. I don't care if some of the bits are a little bit longer than others. That does not make me any difference at all. Closing my fabric. Hopefully I can upload this one, y'all. I'm sure gonna try as soon as I get off of here, because I know that some of you just wanted to see how that flocking worked. So my plan is that when I get off of here, I'm gonna be able to upload it for y'all. I sure hope so. I'm gonna give it my best try, girls. So we'll just keep going back and forth with the different fabrics. I'm going to feel like we're getting close to enough. Then I'll show y'all how this little bow works. When I'm getting toward the top here, I am making some of my bows maybe a little tiny bit smaller. I'm gonna end with this red and the white. And I said I'm making my bows smaller, but I meant the loops. But I feel like y'all knew what I meant. And we're gonna do white as the final one. Just like so. Then we will pull this up together with the string that we put down in the bottom. I can't dry that flocking, so it's kind of sitting over here, kind of drying for me. I'm just gonna pull that tight like this. Move that out of the way. I knotted it in the front. Just like so. I'll get a string in there, hang on. I tied a knot in the front. Then I'm gonna pull it around to the back. I'm gonna tie another knot in the back just to hold that bow together. Then I kind of just fluffed it out like this. You can kind of shake it, but you see how you can just kind of pull to get all the different colors mixed up together and get it pulled around just like so. Makes a nice little bow like this. I'm gonna leave it messy because that's the way that I like it. I feel like that goes with the rusticness, kind of the farmhousey look of this little tree. I like all the colors in there. And then, let me see if I can get this out without making a mess, y'all, because it is still wet. It's going to need to sit. So it's got all the little snow on there. You can see that. And so you're looking at it from the back, which is fine. I'll flip it around in just a second and show y'all. But I'm just gonna come up here to the top and I'm gonna tie that around and I'm gonna pull it and I'm gonna knot it. And since it's still wet, I'm just going to cut off these ends, just like so. And we can kind of fluff up this bow a little bit. And let me turn it around to show y'all from the front. And I'm going to let it just sit here overnight and let that flocking dry. But here we are. There you have it. And that's it. I think it's super simple. I think it's very pretty. It's very farmhousey. I love the little rustic farmhouse bow. I think all of the colors are perfect for a good farmhouse, little country Christmas. And I'm not gonna fiddle with the bow too much because I don't want to touch my snow, but I can later. Like I can fiddle with it a little bit more. I just want to let that get good and dry before I do. And while it is still a little bit wet, you can separate some of these branches. If they kind of hang a little bit, they might start sticking together. But that's it, y'all. That's exactly how I made the one that I posted the other day. I'm obsessed with it. I'm gonna do 3 of these, like I said, down the middle of my dining table. And I think it's gonna be adorable. Even on the back side, you can see the bow, but I think the flocking is really pretty. So that's it. I've got one in this black enameled pot. I did the other one in a red and white enameled pot. I sure hope that I can upload this video for you guys. And I appreciate y'all coming in and watching. Y'all just reply in the comments to this one. And I will talk to you in there, okay? I love y'all. I mean it. Thank y'all for trying to be here. I'm sorry the video messed up, but this is what we got, y'all. This is what happened. So here's our cute little tree in our enameled pot. And I will see you guys Thursday night at 7:30, and hopefully it'll be fixed by then. Bye.